So this is one of the problems you have with old machinery is you turn the gas on with the fuel bowl, and then oftentimes you shut the tractor off and you forget to turn the fuel off, and lo and behold, next time you go to start the tractor, you're out of gas. It just depends on how long you've left the tractor, I guess. But one problem I have had with this is it's leaking, and we're going to take a look at this today and see if we can put a stop to it, and hopefully this will help you if you've got the same problem. So stick around for probably about 5 minutes and we'll have it fixed. Fortunately with these old tractors, it's usually hard pressed to find one with a fuel pump on it. So there's something right there that you could rule out. Usually they're pretty easy to diagnose as to where the problem originates from. So when you look at these tractors, it depends on what people have done to it, but you're generally going to have only a few components to your fuel system. And let's see if we can zoom in here a little bit for you. So right there, this is called the fuel bowl, and that fuel bowl is in the bottom of your fuel tank, and this is common in pretty much all the old tractors. They're all pretty much going to be the same system. And I don't know if you just saw that drip. So generally speaking, you're going to find that when you shut the fuel off, if it's still leaking, and your problem is most likely here, or possibly your gasket at the top. So this being what it is, you can also get a leak up here and have it follow your fuel line there and have it drip over here. So you might have to spend a couple minutes figuring out exactly where it is. None of them that are of this vintage, for the most part, the gas ones, have a fuel pump. They're all gravity flow. So the fuel tank is up here. You've got a fuel bowl with a filter in it, and then you've got some sort of the actual bowl. You've got a thumb screw on it that allows you to turn the gas on and off. You've got your fuel line, which could be rubber. A lot of people replace it with a rubber hose, and I've been known to do that myself because, for one thing, it just, these ferrules and the fittings can be a little bit difficult if your fuel line is bent, and sometimes you'll just find this as rotted. So you can buy a brand new steel one, but for ease of use, the rubber ones oftentimes are what you'll see put back on. And then of course you have your carburetor down here. And so this one's a Zenith. IH made some, and you'll also find some of them have a Marvel shaver on them. And the Zenith ones, in my mind, are the best. You can readily get parts to rebuild them. So anyway, here's the fuel bowl. Some people will put an inline filter on their rubber hoses, and sometimes it's a crapshoot because I've put them on and had the tractor vacuum lock with the little fuel shut off on there, and I've also had them work fine. So I guess a roll of the dice if it works or not. But you can see I've got a drip. I'm sure that it's not coming from the connection where it goes into the tank. It looks like it's coming right there out of the end of the bowl. But so before we do anything, we're gonna shut that fuel off, and the fuel shut off depends on how you screwed the bowl on, and it could be on either side. And generally I don't like to have it facing forward or backward because then it really gets hard to get to. But you can see it's right there. It's just a little. So we'll turn this off, and I turned it on for effect. I don't have any gas on my fingers because I have had them leak here, and there's a nut right there that oftentimes will get loose. So you want to make sure that's good and snug. But if you snug it up too much, then you can't operate the thumb screw anymore, so beware of that. Now you can see the fuel in there is good and clean. I've got all good fuel in the tank. There's no sediment. It looks pretty good. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that bowl off, and I'll show you how to get that off. I have had some of these guys that have been on there for a really long time. What happens is you can't operate the thumb screw. That's seized up. A lot of times this little guy right here is tight, and you can't operate that. And then when you try to get it off the tank, you can't get it off there, so you end up taking a lot of things apart to get to it. Now you have to think upside down with these because it's righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, but you're upside down. And that one's on pretty good, and it may just be, it needs a little bit of persuasion, but the problem is if you persuade it too much, it's just plastic, and you will end up busting it. And it's hard to get in there, for sure, especially with cultivators on. So you loosen this up, and this bail right here will move, and then that should fall right down. Be careful of it because it's going to be full of gas, and there may be sediment in it, and there's just a tiny bit in there, but it's not too bad. So you can see a little bit of sediment in there, and we're just going to clean that out while we're here. So you can buy either the whole fuel bowl assembly, or you can buy individual parts. And sometimes it's more cost effective to buy the whole thing, but you want to be careful of the quality because some of the stuff you might find on eBay or Amazon is pure garbage. So I get most of my 140 parts from Birch Store tractors, up under here is a little gasket. And generally when you take that off, the gasket's going to come off with it. Now, there's a lot of people out there that are restoring old tractors and they have videos out, so I appreciate you watching. And if you're like me, you watch everybody for the most part because, well, everybody has a little bit different take on things. So here's some more of that filter coming off. Now, this obviously would be easier if I were to take it right off, and I haven't ruled that out yet. But I'm going to take this little tiny screwdriver and just go around. This is where an inspection mirror could be handy. So I opened up the valve on here probably an hour and a half ago, and it's dry. So it looks like our little repair with the gasket has solved the issue.